All right, question for you. So what rate did you pick? So when you went to MEPS, you'd have to pick a rate. So what rate did you pick? And also what led you to that decision? So if you haven't picked your rate yet, you start to have to think about, what do I want to do in the Navy? What kind of jobs do I see myself doing? The reason why I ask you guys this is because, now looking back at the whole process of how I joined, I can clearly see my recruiter did me wrong. And when I sat down with my recruiter first time and we were discussing, and he said, what do you like to do? What are your interests? And I said, well, I like the business side of things. And he said, okay, here's some options. It was like 5 options. And I said, well, LS sounds good. And he said, okay. So we went to MEPS. I picked up LS. And then 2 months later, I was digging into different rates, and I saw a rate called MC, Mass Communications. Making videos, photography, newspaper, showing the image of the Navy. And I was like, wow, I really want to do that. That's really along with my interest. So I called up my recruiter, and no lie, this is exactly what he said. I called up my recruiter and I said, hey, I want to be an MC. And he said, well, I know you want to stay in for a very short time, 5 years, right? And I said, yes. And he said, well, MCs, they typically want you to stay in for 20 years. And it's really, really hard to get in. Opening hardly ever comes up. The last time I saw an opening was 9 months ago. And I said, wow, okay, so hung up, and I didn't really believe him. So I called up a different recruiting station nearby, and I said to him, hey, I belong with this recruiting station. I kind of want to double check on my recruiter. What can you tell me about this rate? And he basically said the same thing. So mistake number 1, you shouldn't call a different local recruiter. If you really want to double check your recruiter, call in a different state. Call in multiple different recruiting stations in a different state. Because if you call in a local recruiting station, they probably know each other and they're going to have each other's back. And also, now that I'm in the Navy, working with different rates, I kind of wish I was this rate. I kind of wish I was that rate. I didn't really have that choice. My recruiter gave me like 5 choices, and then he said, all right, here's some different options. And which in a way, it's my fault. I should have looked into many different options. But at the same time, I found out exactly what I wanted, MC. But anyway, there's so many different options. So whenever you sit down with your recruiter, their job isn't to really care about what you want. Their job is truly not to care about what you want. Their job is to recruit people. And I understand that because, in a recruiting station, there's like 60 people, maybe 100 people sometimes. They can't care for individual needs and wants. They can't be checking up on that. So their job is to recruit, put you in a rate, and then send you out. So I understand. But the reason why I ask you is because I don't want you guys to go through this process like I did. I want you guys to make the most educated decision possible. So if you don't know what rate you want, or if you're maybe unsure, talk with your parents, talk with your friends and family, because your parents are going to know you best, your friends are going to know you best, what your interests lie. So if you like to write newspapers and make videos, maybe shooting guns, being an MA maybe isn't the best thing, okay? So that's the reason why I want you guys to make the most educated, informed decision possible. And I was reading a comment the other day. He said, Yoon, you influenced me to join the Navy. And guys, I'm not an influencer. I'm not trying to influence you to join the Navy. I'm not trying to influence you to be an LS, okay? My goal, like I said, is to help you guys make an informed, educated decision, guys. I'm not an influencer by any means, okay? So I don't want you guys coming to me like 2 years later and saying, Yoon, I picked this job. I'm in the Navy now and I hate it. I hate being in the Navy. I hate this job. I don't want to hear that, okay? So make an educated decision. Make sure you look at all the different options. Look at all the different options. Don't be blinded by one thing, what your recruiter says. Your recruiter, I'm sure they work really hard, but they really, in my personal opinion, I don't think a lot of recruiters, I'm sure there's some, I don't think most recruiters have the best in your interest. For the most part, they just want to do their job and go home with their families, okay? So that's bottom line what they really want to do. So make sure you look at all the options and make an educated decision and get advice from your friends and family. So keyword family, okay? So hope this video helped you guys. Leave any comments or questions down below. And thank you and have a great Navy Day, guys.